Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everyone. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Casting from the basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. You know, there was a video that I was seeing on Fox News as I was on the air, and I really, words cannot describe this. This is the most incredible thing that I think that I've ever seen. This is a speedboat that literally somersaults through the air. It was going so fast that it began. And you'll have difficulty seeing this because of the banner at the bottom of the screen, moving so quickly, and its nose going further and further up in the air, and the results are spectacular. I don't know if anyone was injured in this, but it's absolutely incredible. Take a look. Nose comes up. Look at that thing
scary.
go.
A speedboat flipped and started somersaulting through the air before landing upside down on the lake. This happened during the Desert Storm event this weekend. The schedule includes a shootout, which is basically an unsanctioned boat race where drivers try to reach high speeds. Local newspapers say the two men in the boat will be okay.
Wow, absolutely incredible. Can you imagine being on a speedboat flipping through the air like that? It's just absolutely wild. Okay, one of the things, this is a big story this morning, is the raid at this Colorado nightclub. And I want to show you the footage of this, then we'll get down. Actually, there's this story at the New York Post. If you want more details, I'm going to show you the footage. Now, this is coverage, live coverage at the time from Fox Now. And you can see the video. It's pretty incredible. You had 200 people who were inside. Of them, 114 were arrested. Here's the video.
Potential deportation. So we are following this very closely here on Live Now from Fox about these arrests being made, this DEA in Colorado, as we have more video of it on Live Now from Fox. I want to give you more information as federal authorities announced that more than 100 illegal immigrants were detained in a massive raid in an underground nightclub. The Drug Enforcement Administration, a multi-agency operation early Sunday morning, arrested 114
you're seeing authorities here. Wait until you
that contained more than 200 people. Authorities
folks
uncovered drugs, including pink cocaine, as well as evidence of prostitution.
Here they're
and
going in.
Firearms during the operation. Of course,
and
out
following it on social media. Trying to get away.
Those facts that they have taken more than 100 illegal aliens into custody.
Cops are not messing around, man.
There,
at
this operation, Attorney General Pam Bondi applauded the operation, which included 300 officials across multiple agencies, including the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm (ATF). She said on social media this morning, the DEA apprehended those 100 illegal aliens at an underground nightclub frequented by TDA, Tren de Aragua, and MS-13 terrorist. Cocaine, meth, pink cocaine seized. 2 people were also arrested on existing warrants. She complimented the operation.
Watch those people coming out of there. That is absolutely incredible what's going on.
We're following that very closely. Over 100 migrants detained overnight in Colorado and Colorado Springs at this nightclub raid. We'll continue to follow it all here on Live Now from Fox.
So now that happened early yesterday morning is when that transpired. And I wanted to show you the video because I think it gives you a clearer perspective of what actually happened. So I wanted you to see that. One of the other stories this morning is Scott Pelley over at 60 Minutes. And this is like the number one story trending, the number one trending story this morning at the New York Post. Scott Pelley calling out Paramount. Now, keep in mind that the head of CBS, the producer of CBS, quit the job last week. You remember this? He quit. He didn't like the fact that CBS was looking at, possibly settling with Donald Trump for some of the things that had transpired. And it was absolute nonsense. I mean, I heard it on Friday. It's absolute crap. It's a typical liberal response that you would expect. And that's what he did. So, okay. It should be over. No. Here comes 60 Minutes host Scott Pelley. He goes after Paramount on the program. And you see here, they launched an astonishing on-air attack. I don't know if it's astonishing. I think it's predictable. I think it's absolutely predictable. This is typical of these clowns. So Pelley went rogue at the end of the broadcast in what was a tribute to Bill Owens, the longtime 60 Minutes executive producer. Again, this is the one I was just talking about. Quit last week because the company Paramount's interfering with 60 Minutes. And the journalistic, ethics over at 60 Minutes. Man, if you could keep a straight face saying that, you're a better person than I am. So anyway, he's saying, Bill resigned Tuesday. I can just hear Scott Pelley. And it was hard on him, hard on us. Pelley said, but he did it for us and for you, he says. And then he suggested Owens' exit could end the era of coverage being accurate and fair. Hey, Mr. Pelley, I hate to be the guy to bring it to you, but I think the history of CBS being accurate and fair ended decades ago. It ended decades ago, man. What are you talking about? So he says, now this is crazy. The more that he speaks. So he says Paramount is trying to complete a merger, which is true, needs approval from the Trump administration. And he says Paramount began to supervise our content in new ways. But he said, none of our stories have been blocked. But Owens felt he lost independence. So he lost his independence. So you lost your independence. First of all, you work for somebody else. I mean, I hate to break it to you. You work for somebody else. Where do these people come from? This is like bizarro world thinking on steroids, man. You work for somebody else. Go out. Good luck trying to start your own media company. I mean, this is just crazy. So none of our stories have been blocked, but it's always a big, ugly but. He felt he lost the independence that honest journalism requires. What does 60 Minutes know about honest journalism? At this point, I'm not saying, I think there was a day when there was some integrity left at 60 Minutes in CBS News, but that's been gone. How long would you say that's been gone? It's been a while since integrity and fair and, journalistic practices have been on display at 60 Minutes. That story just cracks me up, man. How do you not laugh at that? All right. Also this morning, let us go to the president's True Social account, because this is news this morning. The president earlier this morning saying good luck to the great people of Canada. Elect a man who has the strength and wisdom to cut your taxes in half, increase your military power for free to the highest level in the world, have your car, steel, aluminum, lumber, energy, and all other businesses quadruple in size with zero tariffs or taxes if Canada becomes the cherished 51st, the 51st state. So he's at it again. He said state, or the 51st state of the United States should, I see he's abbreviating the 51st. No more artificially drawn line from many years ago. Look how beautiful this landmass would be. Free access with no border, all positives with no negatives. I don't know that Canadians feel that way. It was meant to be. America can no longer subsidize Canada with the hundreds of billions of dollars a year that we've been spending in the past. It makes no sense unless Canada is a state. Now, I welcome your take on that in the comments. Please share your comments with me about Canada becoming a state, because that, to me, I hate that idea. Seriously. Yeah, let's take this leftist Canada and they're going to be our 51st state. I don't know if he's serious about that. I don't know if he's just trying to get under their skin. He persists with that. Again, I don't know his thinking, but the idea of Canada becoming the 51st state, I'll pass on that. Thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. Just not too excited. Canada is a beautiful country. It's not to denigrate Canada, but Canada as the 51st state, I don't think that's a marriage that was meant to be. But the president is, that's going to be big news today after the president makes that. I've already seen stories popping up over the over the president's comment. Okay, I saw this morning. Albertsons is warning suppliers that the company is not accepting cost increases because of the president's tariffs. And this really caught my eye. So they said, with few exceptions, we are not accepting cost increases due to tariffs. This is a letter that they sent out. And they said suppliers are not permitted to include tariff related costs in invoices without prior authorization by Albertsons. Any invoices with such charges without prior authorization will be subject to dispute and may result in payment delays. So they're warning them, don't be raising costs on us because of the tariffs. Now, I don't know if that's going to stand or what's going to happen with this. So they're saying if suppliers want to fight for an exemption, they must file notice 3 months in advance. But yeah, this is crazy. By filling out forms and so on, Albertsons will review the request, which could take 30 days. So 3 months in advance, you got to get that to them. And if they can review it then for 30 days, may take up to 30 days. And they say that raising prices is not guaranteed. And this is a company, or excuse me, this guy does anti-monopoly research. And he said, that's absurd since the cost of many items is going to spike and suppliers will go out of business if they can't cover those increased costs. He said, yet the arrogance speaks to the power of buyers like Albertsons, and don't do business with them. That don't do business with them. You can't do business with them, go elsewhere. And Albertsons is nothing compared to Walmart or Amazon. So you got people freaking out over these tariffs. Meanwhile, you still buying groceries? You still going out? I mean, you still buying things you need? I mean, finding it difficult? I mean, I have had, I think I mentioned this on Friday, me and my Batman collection right at home. I've got a Batman collection at home of stuff, and I'm looking at, and there was some figures that I ordered, and I received a notice, and it's a company that's here in the United States, but toys are manufactured in China. And you might go, ooh, okay, with the tariffs, and then it's really up to me. Do you want to pay the increased costs, or do you not want to pay it? And I think that's a lot of this. Instead, people want to freak out. They want to stamp their feet. They want to, me. Am I happy to pay more money? No. Would I rather not? Yeah, I'd rather not pay more. And in fact, I'm still in charge. I mean, I can make the decision. Do I want to pay more or not? Why can't companies, make those, same kinds of decisions? We're talking about Tom Homan this morning, and I shared some of that audio of the White House press briefing today. This is very short, but Homan saying that a Texas military base could be ready to hold migrant detainees in the near future. And this story does not elaborate much on this. He said Fort Bliss is being ramped up, but he didn't have a timetable for it. So it could be ready in the very near future to hold migrant detainees. And I will tell you, based on the audio that I did share with you this morning, Holman and the Trump administration are not backing off. They are not backing off. And in fact, if anything, they're doubling and tripling down. And it is, pretty crazy to watch what's going on there. We talked on the program this morning about the next 100 days, and I received a number of emails. You can email me anytime you see the email right on the screen there. greg.belfrage@kelo.com is my email address. Max sent me an email. He said, all of the Democrats' obstruction over the Trump agenda, nothing more than an attempt to try to outlast him by throwing all these roadblocks in front of him. Yeah, it's painfully obvious, I think, to many of us. He's saying, they couldn't beat Trump, so now they want to obstruct him until the midterms or until he's out of office. The most hypocritical example is on immigration. No prior administration was expected to provide a hearing and due process for every illegal alien in the country prior to deporting them. Doing so would tie up the courts for the next 30 years on immigration alone, which, of course, is what they want. The hypocrisy is mind-numbing, Max said. Claudia sent me an email as well. So as I was asking, what do you want to see President Trump accomplish in the next 100 days? Claudia said, pass the great big beautiful bill. Adjust the immigration laws to allow deportation without all the lawful interference by these circuit court judges. I don't trust the Supreme Court to do their job, she said. And Darren said, I'd love to hear Trump talk more about Doge. I believe he meant to say Doge. He said those. I think what he was saying, probably it was a voice text, I believe. I think he was saying, I would love to hear Trump talk more about Doge and the things that are happening with Doge and dividend checks, he said, like that. So I appreciate your emails. You can drop me an email anytime at the email address right at the bottom of your screen. Let's see what you're saying. Robert's making people laugh here. Canadians will be comfortable if they become the 51st state, especially if they say USA, because Canadians are notorious for saying "hey" after everything. After everything they say, hey. Absolutely love it. Thank you, Robert. Denise was talking about, the tariffs and what's going on. She said, I haven't had any problems or issues with the tariffs. She said, my world has not changed, but I have been actively searching for items not made in China. Doing exactly the same thing, Denise. I appreciate that. Edgy. I love hearing from you, Edgy. And Robert is here. He's a regular. Robert, God bless you guys. Really appreciate all of you being here every day. It means a lot to me. Edgy, what would we do with all of those Canadian liberals? Talk about swinging the electorate. Yeah, that's why I'm not sure I understand what Trump is talking about there. You know what I mean? I'm not entirely clear on why bringing Canada into the U.S. as the 51st state. I'm like, what, elections are not close enough now, Mr. President? You you want them to be, but what? I just don't think so. Yeah, Denise. And see, I feel like this too. You're talking about 60 Minutes and what's going on there. You know, these people don't understand they're not self-employed. They're required to do what their boss tells them. If you don't like it, find a new job. Absolutely right. And believe me, I very much keep in mind that I work for my employer. You know, when I'm on the air every morning, I'm on the air for my employer. I'm representing not only myself, I'm representing the radio station, I'm representing my employer, and I very much keep that in mind. And you see at 60 Minutes, there's none of that. The producer, Scott Pelley, they think it's all about them. That is, in my opinion, an incredibly selfish attitude to take. That it's all about you and forget it. It's one of the reasons why I get in your comments. It's one of the reasons why I take your phone calls. I love hearing from you because you give me things to think about. And I think, you know what? Maybe I'm not looking at this one the right way. Maybe I need to take a step back and re-examine, my thinking on a particular issue. That has happened to me more than once because of comments that are coming from you. CBS, who cares? I don't care. See, I think there is something critically different between television media and radio. And I think also doing, you start doing video. This is one of the reasons why I try to come to the comments and I'm looking at your comments. And I want to see what you're thinking. I want to see what you're saying. Because as I said, many times you give me something to think about. Something I hadn't considered. You see none of that from the legacy media. It's just, to me, it's jaw-dropping. And so Scott Pelley out there, 60 Minutes, carrying on. It's like, just give me a break. There's a reason why I haven't watched 60 Minutes in I don't know how many years. I mean, literally. You're talking 10, 15 years since I've watched 60 Minutes at all. And it's that kind of attitude that it's just, for me, it's just an absolute turnoff. All right, we have made it to the end of the video. That's a wrap from the bunker this morning. And you are part of my gallery of champions, Robert, or it was David, rather, who came up with the Bunker Brigade. And that's the folks who are leaving comments here that I was just sharing a number of the comments with you. That's my beloved Bunker Brigade. Thanks to all you guys as well. So we're going to leave it there for today. Please hit the like button before you leave. More and more of you are doing it, and it's very much appreciated. I will see you again tomorrow. So long until then, I'm underground and gone.